I didn't even think about me being a woman in a male-dominated world. I just did it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sharing Passion and Purpose podcast. My name is Nancy Moore, and I am the host of this weekly podcast that provides career and creative inspiration to help you build a passionate and purpose-filled life. You'll hear from guests that will help you tap into your creative potential, pursue a career with passion, and build on your biggest and best resource, yourself. I'm excited to have you join this conversation. I'm so happy you're here. Let's get started. Dana Day is the owner of Dana Build and Design in Tulsa. She's an incredible person who is very passionate about what she does, and that is evidenced through her 20-plus year career, including being selected to appear in a series on HGTV, winning numerous accolades, and more. I want to preface this episode by letting you know that this will be 2 parts. During this visit, this first episode, she'll share insight into what led her into changing careers and jumping into this industry, what she enjoys about it, hint, it has to do with the challenges, and the stigma of being a female in a male-dominated business. However, she also has a purpose that is very important to her and is looking to share it with others. And so you'll hear a little bit at the end of the episode about that, and that is a good segue into the second episode because it involves her sister Leslie committing suicide. So she will share a little about this and then go into more depth in the second part of this interview. And so stick around and get to know Dana and her talent for working with her clients to create custom projects that are on budget and on time, and then learn more about her backstory, about her sister, and that event that shook Dana to her core. I was so honored that she shared this, and I know it's going to be a help for many others to hear her words. Okay, before we get started, I'd like to thank my sponsor, The Rooted Willow. The Rooted Willow provides non-toxic body products that are rooted in nature. Their products were developed by 2 moms, Danielle and Cody, because they are on a mission to provide non-toxic and ethically sourced body wellness products. Their tallow body lotion and lip balm are my 2 faves. I'd love for you to check them out online, therootedwillowok.com, or on Instagram at therootedwillowok. And now on to the episode. Okay, everybody, I am thrilled to introduce Dana Day. She is a phenomenal female builder in the Tulsa area. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I'm so excited to tell my story.
I'm excited to have you tell your story. So, you did not start out in building, and so I'd love for you to kind of share a little bit about your career, how that started out, and then what led to you becoming a builder.
Okay. I was a mortgage loan officer, and I hired a bad builder that I found, and we were over budget, way like $100,000 over budget, a year over time. And my grandmother-in-law was moving in with us. So we had this house that we designed that had its own suite for her. So there was a lot of emotions going on to get this finished. And so what I did was I just got a TV tray and a lawn chair, and I started working from the house and answering the questions, working with the superintendent. And I started liking it. And then another builder came up to me and said, "Would you be an investor?" I said, "Sure." So I invested with him in 2 houses in the front of the neighborhood. And he wasn't any better. And then when I moved in and other people were moving in, everybody had the same complaints. Different builders, same complaints. And I thought, there's a niche here. So I took the money that I made off the builder up front. I went to the bank and I said, "How can I be a builder?" And I learned. I didn't have any clue. And I just had each sub teach me everything. And I fell in love with the challenge of building because there's a lot of moving parts and you really have to be creative and think out of the box to solve a lot of issues. So that's how I got into it.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. And you have a different perspective being a female. I know we've talked about you enjoying the building process, but the way that you think about things, you've included some different things that maybe, men would not have considered or thought of.
Yeah.
So I'd love you to share that because I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I had, I'd go in and work with the architects and put all my stuff in it, and work with the electrician on where to place everything. And I didn't realize my homes were different until I had homes in the parade of homes, and then hundreds of people walk through. And I had so many comments about your homes just flow different, feel different. And then I was like, tell me what that feeling is, because I didn't understand. And they would say the flow and the position of outlets and switches. And I'll give you a great example. When I started framing homes, I realized that there were little places that I could put a hidden room. Because these homes, they're 4,000 or 5,000 square foot. So a family's going to live there. So I started making these little hidden rooms for the kiddos. Because when I was raising my children, they would get out all the sheets, all the blankets, and make forts. And, for any mom, that's fun and neat and everything, but then it's the hassle of putting everything away. So I thought, hey, if I make this hidden room, I'm going to make these moms' lives easier. Putting outlets underneath every vanity, for your electric toothbrush, your hair dryer, your curling iron. Those things were things that I kind of implemented. Not having dining rooms in every home. That was huge. When I would ask my clients, okay, $25,000 for a dining room versus an outdoor kitchen or making your hearth room bigger. How many places do we need to eat at? Mm-hmm. So, because kitchen islands at that time were huge. Mm-hmm. And then we had the kitchen nook, mm-hmm. the dining room, an outdoor kitchen. That's crazy. So mm-hmm. things like that is what I did to make my homes different.
Okay. Well, and you actually caught the eye of HGTV. And I would like for you to share that cool story because I know HGTV. I feel like it's amazing your story about this.
Thank you. Being on HGTV was definitely like not a bucket list, but something that I've always wanted to be on, but I didn't know how. I mean, how do you do that, right? So I do a lot of remodeling as well, especially since COVID hit, and I'm doing so many master suite additions, things like that. So I got an email from HGTV, and I'm thinking in my mind, they want my money. They want my money. They want me to advertise. So I just don't even click on it. And then about a month later, I get another email, or it could have been 2 weeks later. I get another email. And this time the subject line was, we want to interview you for a series. And I was like, click. I read it. I called the producer that day, set up a time, and it ended up being a 3-month interview process. They were interviewing 5 remodelers in every city, and there was 5 cities. And I happened to be one of them, and I happened to be the only female remodeler out of the 25 that they interviewed.
Wow, that's kind of incredible, isn't it?
It really is. It really, really is.
Okay. So that process, the 3-month process, what came out of that?
They chose me. And I that's one of those aha moments that you got to pinch yourself. Is this really a reality? Like, I'm going to be on HGTV. I'm going to work with the executives, the designers of not only HGTV designers, but also Lowe's. Lowe's was the sponsor. So it was an absolutely incredible experience.
Wow. Okay. So then, and that was here in the Tulsa area.
It was.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit about that build and what that was like then.
So what it was Lowe's and HGTV combined did a grant. What they realized is people who give their time, their homes sacrifice. They put all their money and all their time into other organizations that when they realized what they were living in, they were like, let's also remodel their homes. And so that's how this came about. Their home really needed a remodel. His computer desk was on a dog crate.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just so happened after thousands of people apply for this, and it just so happened Dr. Lester Shaw and his wife Brenda were awarded this transformation of not only their home, but of their event center. It definitely was an interesting build. One of the things that I was really firm about, if they chose me, I wanted them to make sure that if we ran into any problems, that we did not put a Band-Aid on it, that we fixed it, because my quality is very important to me. And I didn't want a Band-Aid. And they agreed if they ran into anything, they would fix it. Well, then day one, demo day happens, and we take down the kitchen and we smell massive amounts of gas. Like we have cameras there. I have my crew there. And I'm like, everybody out of the house. We need to turn off the gas. Over budget, day one. And then as demos just keep happening and everything, the floor wasn't level. The ceilings weren't level. We took down drywall, and there's a window. There's a window just left there from an addition that they did. I mean, craziest things. But HGTV honored their word, and they fixed everything.
Oh, wow. I love hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
Then, okay. Yeah, and I like your work ethic.
Yeah, I'm all about
quality. Your work ethic, but your ethics. I should say I like your ethics.
Yeah, when I started building, one of the things when you're in a neighborhood, you're priced per square foot, no matter what. It doesn't matter if I put extra energy efficient insulation and make sure my homes are really tight and higher quality stuff. It meant that I made less money, but it also meant to me that I was building something quality, and I knew that I would get customs, the word of mouth, the referrals. And that really did happen for me.
Okay. So did your business then, it was doing very well, but then after HGTV, did that take it in a different turn or a different clientele, or what kind of came of that?
It didn't really boom my company. It was something that everybody loves. I think that if it was between me and somebody else, the HGT factor did play a role. As in, if they chose you, then why wouldn't we choose you?
Mm-hmm.
And they've gone on my website and they've seen the reviews. And Dylan, the construction manager for HGTV, that I worked with on a daily basis, and Christina, the producer that I worked with on a daily basis, they see their reviews and how I handled situations and stuff, and so that gets me a lot of jobs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're always so I feel like level-headed, even-keeled. You don't get ruffled up about stuff, and the building process is costly. And it's time consuming, and I love
emotional.
Yes, emotional. And I'd love to hear kind of how you juggle that, because I know you have different families and people that you're working with, and I'm sure that there's way more than a gas leak or an uncovered window, so tell me about that, working with people and their emotions and that kind of thing.
That is a great question, Nancy. That's a the best question ever, because being a woman builder, I learned early on that I had to talk to men differently. I was seeing a business coach that kind of helped me. And if something was going wrong, if I reacted the way that a lot of men react, with high emotions and anger or just high emotions, I can't do that. I learned early on, I can't do that because, as my coach would say, I would demasculate them. And I learned that early on, that I really had to make my words, the words that I used, very calculated. Something goes wrong, I point it out positively. I show a suggestion, but I've had to make that adjustment because I'm a woman builder. In fact, it's funny because there has been a few times I've lost my cool. And let me tell you, when Dana Day loses their cool, it gets around to my other subs, sometimes in my vendors. And one of my ladies at ProSource, it was a tile thing, heard about it, and she goes, "If Dana lost her cool, you deserved it. I don't know what you did, but you deserved it." And I was like, yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was really bad, but I really have to be careful.
Just given the fact that you're a female and...
Yeah.
Okay.
And for a female, for one to be their boss.
Yes.
So early on, I was so passionate about getting into building that I didn't even think about me being a woman in a male-dominated world. I just did it. And I know that I earned the respect of my subs when I asked them to teach me. And when I would have ideas, I would go to them and say, "Why can't we do it this way? Or what about this?" And they were then open to my suggestions. Instead of being competitive, I earned their respect.
That goes a long way too when you're working with people, and they were probably happy to teach you, so you kind of knew what was going on and what goes into it. Mm-hmm. And then it's neat for you to see that side of it too.
Yeah, and then it evolved to now I understand. Mm-hmm. And so when they had a problem, the best thing in the world I absolutely loved, I'd pull up to a job site still today, and subs are like, "I have a problem. I can't figure this out." I love that. A challenge. I'm an out of the box thinker. I love that part of it.
You love challenges?
I love challenges.
Okay. So tell me, that's a good segue, because I wanted to ask you about what challenges you faced in the industry.
I mean, still to this day, when I say I'm a builder, or somebody realizes, "What do you do for a living?" "I'm a builder." "Oh, you mean your husband's the builder?"
You still get that?
I still get that. Or you're the realtor. You're the, there's no way that I could be the builder. And so I've learned that by showing them the house, I'll be like, "Let me just show you the house." By the end of it, they're like, "Okay, you're the builder." So I had to prove to people that my knowledge about the homes were real. City of Tulsa inspector came to inspect one of my homes, and it just so happened I was there. I introduced myself as the builder, walked in, talked to him. He came out, and my HVC guy accidentally called the wrong inspection. And so I told him, "Don't worry about it." He goes, "Just have your builder," and he said that like 4 times. "Just have the builder call it in." I was like, "Okay, I'll call it in." "No, have the builder do it." 5 different times. I finally looked at him and I said, "Sir, I am the builder and I will get this done. It was nice to meet you." And I left. It still happens today. It's crazy. No one can believe that I could be a female builder.
Mm-hmm. That is. Yeah, that is. So what advice then would you give? Because you've learned all of this. I know that you're asked to go speak, to younger women. So what advice have you given to them about this industry, this career? What would be some words that you could kind of share about that?
Yeah, I'm very highly involved in the Home Builders Association here in Tulsa. We are going to have a trade shortage. So what we're doing is trying to educate people, the younger generation. Hey, you can go to trade school and become a plumber or electrician or an HVAC tech, and you can make $60,000, $80,000. You could become a builder like me. There's such a stigma on building. Like, you have to be a man. You have to be a man to be a plumber or to be a framer. And that's so not true. That's so not true these days. And it's amazing to watch these young women go in this program from high school to tech school. And then we have all these jobs already waiting for them when they graduate with nice salaries. So I'm very proud of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so if you'll also tell me about what you enjoy most, because for me, it was kind of surprising that you said you love it when the subs are waiting for you when you get to the site and they've got different challenges. That would be so unnerving for me. And so tell me what you enjoy most. I think, you said the challenges, but let's talk about that a little bit more.
I love the challenges, but what I truly, truly love is, I'll give you an example. In college, I did glass blowing, and I loved it. I loved taking molten glass, liquid glass, and forming it into whatever I wanted it to be, a vase, a plate, whatever, a heart, just unlimited. And with a house, I would design it so it would be in my mind and then on paper, and then to watch it being built or a remodel, going in, and they kind of know what they want to do, but not all the way. And I go in with my vision and I let them know, and we redo it. To watch that process is my creative side coming out.
So tell me, because it's Dana Build and Design, and I know you said you also are doing a lot of remodeling. So tell me more about that and how the design works, and in that part.
Ever since COVID, it's amazing how many additions, especially master suite additions, that I've done. In fact, I've kind of retailored my company to remodeling, on the remodeling side. I do whole house remodels. It's just amazing to see, like, remodeling. It's like the ugly thing. It's the old stuff. Some of it I do try to keep, if it's sentimental, or if it's a really historical house, I try to keep little parts of it still intact. But to take something that's used and old and out of style and update all that is just, it's an amazing process. Mm-hmm. It's a 1,000,000-piece puzzle, and it never goes in right all together at the same time. I mean, it's stressful. It's emotional. Mm-hmm. A home is your biggest investment of your life. So the emotions, the different personalities is the biggest challenge of building, because it is so emotional, especially with remodeling. Mm-hmm. A lot of people still live in the home. You're having strangers in your home. And then if you have pets or children, it can be a lot.
Mm-hmm. So do you have, and I even hate to ask this, but do you have a typical day? Is there a typical day?
There is a typical day.
Okay.
And I start in the morning by looking at the emails, but then I get on the road immediately, because that's when I check on my job sites. I try in the evenings, in the afternoons, to go and meet with all my subs. And then in the mornings, they get started. And then I reach back out with them mid-morning and see how the progress, what questions they have. And then afternoons are usually new clients, budgeting, things like that. And then later in the afternoons if I need to go back out to a job site, or maybe I didn't go there in the morning, wanted to see more production in the afternoon, then I'll reach out. But I'm in my car a lot.
Mm-hmm. So tell me then how you invest in yourself. Like, what do you do to stay healthy, mentally, emotionally, physically? What do you do if you're working so much? Because I feel like that would be a lot of hours, in the day that you're going back and forth. And
the nice thing about it is I'm the boss, I'm the person in charge. So really I make the appointments around my schedule. So it allows me to do things like this.
Like sit here with me.
Like sit here with you and do fun things like this,
Yeah.
So I wake up, I usually start with praying. And, I pray for wisdom, and I pray for that everybody's safe. I've been on job sites where somebody's gotten hurt, so I pray for my day. And I get my coffee, then I start going emails, jump in the shower, and I'm off.
Okay. What a great way to start the day.
I have found that starting the day like that and ending the day in prayer is what really helps my mental. And then I listen to a lot of Christian music. That tends to bring down any kind of stress. Mm-hmm. I also have a core group of friends that I do a lot with, and we're in communication all day long. And we are each other's cheerleaders, support system. I don't know what I would do without them. I go to the lake a lot. I do a lot of things with my friends and my family. I have a very close-knit family as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I love to hear that. Okay. So in wrapping up, I would love to find out how you are thriving in 2025.
Girl, this is going to be the year of a lot of new adventures. And this podcast is part of that. I have a certain purpose. And what my purpose is my sister committed suicide 14 years ago. And it changed my life. It absolutely changed the core of my life. And early on in my grieving process, God would speak to me and tell me, I need to speak. I need to talk about my experience. And I poured my heart and soul out on Facebook, not really knowing that it went to everybody. So, but I poured my heart and soul out. And by doing that, I had 3 different people, Nancy, came to me on a private message and said, because I've seen the amount of pain that you are in, I would never want to do that to my family members or my friends. So I've gotten help. And you saved my life. When that happens to you, and then you have God in your ear, in your heart saying, speak. At that time, I was in such depression that there was no way. So, fast forward 12 years, a couple years ago, I started my own journey on changing myself. And in doing so, the voice in my heart and my head came back again. But this time it was, you're ready. It's time. You're good. Let's go. And it took me a little bit to maneuver how to do it, because how do you do that? I mean, I'm a builder. I don't know how to go about speaking, I was told you got to write a book first, which that's great advice for the speaking part. But then even that with the book, I mean, it's like, okay, but I have a lot of trauma in my life. How do you organize that? Well, then my accountability coach, Amanda, our friend, she's like, well, why don't you start with podcast? And that'll help filter your story. And so that's the journey I'm on for 2025.
Okay. I'm thrilled that you're able to share your message now, because I know it will affect so many more lives than what it already has. And that you have such an incredible faith that you're ready now. So then there's no stopping you.
There's no stopping me. Yeah. I mean, this is God driven. I give him everything for this. I pray every time. I say, dear Lord, please let me speak what you want me to. And it's amazing. Sometimes I'll talk about it and it's like, oh, that definitely came from God. You know?
That's amazing when you can actually see that.
Yeah.
So we are actually going to continue this conversation because I want people to know more about your purpose and have a conversation about Leslie. So I'm looking forward to that. And I know today we're recording and today is her birthday.
It is.
Go ahead.
She'd be 48 today.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I know. I can't even, I mean, when I thought about that this morning, I'm like, okay, I'm better thinking about her at 34.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Not old like the rest of us.
It's funny. Yes. So I know you have a fun day planned, and I hope that you guys have a great day. I know you'll be talking a lot about Leslie, and I know you'll be talking to a lot more people about Leslie with your purpose. So I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you, Nancy. This has been such a joy and fun experience. Thank you. And you are definitely now a stepping stone in my story.
I'm very honored. So
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I appreciate you being here. And don't forget to connect with me on social media. Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn are at Sharing Passion and Purpose, and Twitter is at Passion Sharing. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.